You've alluded a couple times to the problem of overpopulation, yet at all the world conferences on global warming, this and that, we never hear about the problem of overpopulation. Do you think it's a taboo subject? And if so, why?
It's been politically incorrect for a very long time. If you go to a global conference on those issues, and I'm there, you will hear me talking about the mushrooming human population growth that's led to deforestation, that leads not just to harm for the animals and the environment, but the people living there too, no question.
One thing that's always worried me about the environment movement for the last 30 years is their inability to get their heads around the importance of population. I find it staggering that is still downgraded as an issue. There's a sense it's somehow politically incorrect to talk about population. But the issue of population lies absolutely at the heart of the destruction of the natural world today. If we had to find a way of creating a sustainable future for 1 billion people, I can assure you it would be a great deal simpler and a lot better for the natural world than trying to find a solution for 6 billion people, let alone 9 billion people, which will be the population of this planet by the middle of this century, by 2050. So ignoring population strikes me as the biggest own goal that the environment movement has ever scored.
And if you talk about overpopulation and not population control, that's really what got to people. They don't want to be controlled. And then, of course, there's the Catholic Church. And that makes quite a major problem when you are trying to get balance between the people and their environment. And that's what has to happen if we're going to take this world on through this millennium. That has to happen. I mean, don't you agree? We have to get more balance.
I agree. I think the tension is that in Europe there's negative population growth.
Yes.
So it's a very unbalanced world.
Yeah.
But
Japan
to
too.
not talk about it and face it head on is crazy.
Yeah, and you know, people say, well, you can't talk about it in the developing world because you can't, because it's not politically, it will go against their religion, their beliefs or something. But if you talk to a group, I've talked to hundreds of villagers and said, you know, if you have a piece of land that can support one family with 2 children and they can go to school and be happy, and then you fill that land up with 10 children or 12 children, then they don't have enough to eat and they're not happy and they won't get to school because the parents will be poor. And everybody understands. And when we sent a family planning team around all the Take Care villages, there's 24 of them, they were a bit nervous because there's Seventh-day Adventists and also the Muslims. But they came back smiling. They said every single village said, why didn't you come before? Because culture's changed. And in the old days, you got old, you had many children, they farmed the land, and you were rich. But now there's so many people that you can't give your children land. They go off to the cities, perhaps they can't get a job, so you're old. Instead of being looked after, people come back and say, I want to share what you have.
Yeah.
And it's not working.